When setting up for your first screen print, it's super important to think about organization and having all your materials ready. This is one form of art where doing a few extra things ahead of time and measuring twice is really going to pay off in what you get as an end result. Some of the basics you want to have laid out would be a piece of newsprint, a squeegee, your pot of ink, a spatula, a roll of masking tape, and of course, your screen. The screen will be attached to a set of hinges which need to be secured tightly. You don't need to crank it too hard, but use your hand to tighten it. Make sure that it's firmly in place. So once you have all your materials in place and your screen is secured to the hinges, you can put your piece of paper under the screen, and what you're going to do is start lining up the print, just either by eyeballing it or with a ruler if you're very particular. So you can see on the screen here, the very light green is the actual print, which is a piece of lettering design. And what I'm doing is I'm lifting up the screen, putting the paper down, lifting up the screen again, seeing where it sits, and just getting the paper in place so that I know when the screen is over top of it, and I can see the design through it, that it's going to be in the center of the paper. So once I have everything lined up, I'm going to take a few pieces of tape from my masking tape roll, and I'm going to mark off a couple of L's on the corners of the paper. One thing I didn't mention earlier was what you need to make sure of is that all your paper is cut to the same size, so that wherever you make your L's on the corners, each time your paper is going to fit exactly in that L, and each time you do a print, the print will land in the same place, provided that you did all your measurements and everything is lined up.
Okay, so now you're ready to print. But wait, you need a smock. Okay, you've got your smock on. Now you can open your ink pot and you can start getting into printing. You can grab your spatula and take a scoop of the ink. You're going to be putting a fairly generous amount on the screen. All right, so take your roll of tape and put it down on the table, and now lower the screen onto the roll of masking tape. Take your spatula with the ink on it, and you're going to spread the ink onto the top of the screen, not onto the part that's going to print, but just a few inches above. The thickness of the ink that you want to put here is about how much you would put on a cupcake if you were icing a cupcake. Scrape any excess ink off your spatula back into the ink container and properly seal the lid with putting some pressure on top. Okay, now we've got our ink on the screen, and we're going to grab our squeegee. We're going to pull the ink towards us and stop just before the end. Don't go right to the edge of the screen. Give it a light tap to knock the excess ink off of the squeegee. Flip it around, and now push the ink up to the top. This is called flooding the screen. So with your flooded screen, you can then raise the screen, take the roll of tape out, because now you want the screen to be able to sit flat on the paper because you're about to pull a print. Okay, so you want to angle the squeegee at a 45 degree, apply firm pressure, pull in one clean stroke towards you, lift the screen up, give the squeegee a little tap to get the ink off of it. Before having a good look at the print, make sure you put your squeegee to the side and that your hands are clean. And there it is, the print that you just pulled. All right, so just the same way that we do a nice job setting up for printing, we want to do as good of a job cleaning up. And we can save a lot of our ink by scraping it off the screen and off the squeegee back into the ink container. And that way we have more ink for everybody else. Right after your screen is all clean, make sure you detach all your paper that you used and recycle it. Head back to your printing table and wipe it down, leave it better than you found it for the next person to print.